Look at folks like Konga, for example, is a Nigerian that set it up. But our news around whether he's still in business or not in business or he sold it or whatever. Is that an instance of concern to folks who are like you, who are experts in this field, that, look, you need to watch your step as an entrepreneur, not necessarily even be an MSME?
So basically, the case of Konga, I have not dug so much into what happened, but I will tell you something. In countries like US, UK, and the rest, they have programs where they support first takers. They call them first takers. First takers are those who first explore a business environment, a business idea. So people who first did e-commerce in countries like US, UK, Canada, and the rest, they get massive support from government, support so that they don't go down. Reason is this: if they don't go down, they will encourage more persons to try. If they go down, less persons will want to try that business idea. But in the Nigerian case, you hardly have government understanding that, look, if a guy comes up and he starts a new business idea, something we've not been doing for a long period of time, we need to enable this young man or young woman to stay on that business. Because if we don't do that, other persons might think it's quite difficult to travel in that business. But it's not necessarily difficult. The challenge will be that since he is the first taker in that business in Nigeria, for instance, there are some realities he will keep encountering as he goes into the first year, from the first to the second to the third, and the fourth year. If government does not understand how best to support that business, it will not do well. But I think government is doing that with the TSTV company that comes with the wants to be a rival to DSTV. You see the Ministry of Information and Communication partnering with the MD of the company to say, okay, how do we support you to get up and stand firmly? We need to expand this kind of support to all sectors so that those who come in and want to try a new business area, we handhold them to make success in that business.
Also, if you look at e-commerce, and if you give us 1 more minute of your time on speaking to e-commerce in particular, whether it's Konga, whether it's Jumia, what's the number of years they need to succeed before you can say, well, the government can say, I think we can win you off at this particular point in time? 5 years, 10 years, or more?
No, there's no number of years. We can't limit that. In US, we have these Toys for Us or so. Toys for Us has been in US for the last 20, 30 years, if I'm not mistaken. But the company just recently went down. What happened? So you can't say you will support you for 2, 3 years and we hands off. There has to be stages at which you support them. Maybe in the 5 years, you are supporting them with tax incentive, you are supporting them with infrastructure, rebate, and the rest. In the next after the 5 years, between the 6th to the 10th year, you are supporting them with different mix of support. You can't say it's a 2, 3 year support and you hands off. No. Government has business in business. If government is not willing to support its local entrepreneurs to thrive, foreign capital will keep coming. And when foreign capital comes in, foreign capital takes out whatever it makes as profit. So I don't think we should limit the support to 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. No. As long as that business remains in existence, government has to keep supporting it. Ford got support from American government in the last 5 years or thereabout. Several big known banks got support in America in the last 5, 6 years or thereabout. Why didn't the American government back out and say, look, we can't support you again? When you support, you then help them to solve the challenges that led to you having to intervene for them.
Okay, so let's talk about the social investment program of trader money and all of that under the current administration. Do you see this as something for the entrepreneurship segment of the economy? Is it a game changer?
It is. And if you recall the last conversation we had when trader money was just announced, and we said, look, trader money is a good idea. 10,000 means so much. It means so much to several micro, small, medium enterprises. But we need to also look at the ecosystem that we are expecting them to go play in. And we looked at the FCT and Lagos as at that time we discussed last. And I told you in the FCT here, we still have an effective ban on street trading. Lagos still has some kind of ban on street trading. And who trades on the street is your micro and small enterprises. So let's even go back and address these laws, regulations that would work against the same guys who are meant to benefit from this trader money. And let me even bring something to put us in the proper context. When we had the UWIN program between 2010 to 13 or thereabout, in the FCT alone, I know 5 award winners whose business were collapsed by laws from the FCT. 3 were in the transport sector who bought buses for intra-city transport. And the FCT administration said, look, we are banning buses in the city center. They went out of business. 2 went into waste collection, waste management. And within 6 months of starting up, FCT introduced the law that said, look, we want to now license big-time players in the waste collection business in FCT. And these small guys who just got between 8 and 10 million, who had spent so much buying their equipment and the rest, could not meet the conditions set by FCT to play in the waste collection business. And they went out of business. So while you are providing money for micro, small enterprises, you need to also look at the regulatory framework that they are going to play in. Look at the entire ecosystem and address other issues that might eat up that capital that you are giving them.
Very interesting. So what about the ERGP before we take a break? Is there anything in the ERGP? What does it mean for entrepreneurship business in Nigeria? Your opinion?
I read in the news yesterday that the VP had a meeting with the Focus Lab, the central working group of the Focus Lab. We need to see the clearer picture of what the focus groups are meant to do for that's the lab, the ERGP lab, the focus group. We need to get to a point where we then say, okay, this is what I know government is looking at sectors they can invest in and that will give them quick return, low-hanging fruits. Until we get to that point where government then says, look, we have prepared the framework to invest 100 billion into the agri sector, this sector of the agri, this subsector in the agri sector. Until we get to that point, I can't for now tell what holds for MSMEs on the ERGP. I can't be definite for now.
Celestin, is it all about money, money, money?
But I'll be real with you. It's not about money. We had a program in Adamawa, Yobe, and Borno State that ended up some 2-3 weeks back, where we were working with a US-funded program to rebuild the small business sector in the Northeast. So you bring in small business holders who tell you, money is my biggest challenge. I need money, I need money, I need money. And at the end of the training for each of the week, you give them per dime that covers their 5-week stay, where you brought them from their homes, you pay them some money. And then you call each of the participants 1 week after to say, what did you do with the money you got? Oh, you know, I needed to change my phone for the last 6 months. I've been struggling to change it, and I've used the money to change my phone. The next person tells you, oh, I wanted to get married for like 6 months before now. Gathering money for my bride price and the rest. I just added that money to what I've been saving. So the same guy who told you money is his problem gets money, and what does he do? Consumption financing. So money is the biggest problem MSME is facing.
So money is our problem. Celestin, money is our problem. It's a problem because he doesn't have a good phone. He needs to change the phone. He wants to get married. That's the money problem, and money solves that problem. But that's not business money. So that's the consumption. Yes. So when you see, for example, just hold on a second, when you see the Bank of Industry saying that farmers that took hundreds of millions of agricultural loans from BOI are not paying back, and they're going to send EFCC after them and debt collectors, should that get you worried?
It gets me worried. And if you understood what the story I just told you now, managing money is a big problem for entrepreneurs in Nigeria. Investing is even a problem. Investing startup capital is another big problem we have in Nigeria. And I said something. When I talked to MSP, I said, look, if you have 100,000 you want to invest into a small business, please, by all means, don't invest more than 20% of that money first. Reason being that you are just going to test the waters. You don't have control over the factors that work in that ecosystem. Invest 20% of your total capital. See what happens with that 20%. Then decide whether you need to invest more of it. But like I said also, we need to get to the point where we can manage money effectively, manage money efficiently. Until that point, money is not a challenge. And I'll tell you something. If you want to talk about the loans advanced by BOA and the rest, sometimes let's get something right here. Some of the persons who get this funding are people who are nominated by politicians. They are not people who are really into the business that the funds were created for. But by and large, and I'll keep saying this, finance is not the biggest challenge MSMEs face. One of the biggest challenges they face is discipline, managing their business, managing their finances, and making sure their customers get utmost satisfaction for the services or products they offer their customers.
But aside money, do you think there's something else that we need to do in terms of technical assistance, perhaps, for entrepreneurs and MSMEs?
If you go to other countries, even Ghana here, in the last 3-4 years, they've taken a shift from providing financial services to providing non-financial services, where you are told from the very first day how to start up a business, how to invest your startup capital, and how to manage your enterprise. Most times in Nigeria here, that knowledge is missing. So from the time a young man decides to go into business and to the time he invests his first capital in that business, what happens at that time? What body of knowledge is he exposed to? What support structure does he get to tell him, look, you know what? While Uber looks like a good business in the FCT here, but are you aware that we have launched the metro railway system in Abuja here that for now is going from the airport to the city center, and there's a plan that in the next maybe 12 or 24 months it will run around the entire FCT. And what implication does that hold for cab operators? That means there will be a drop in demand. Are you aware of that? So if you put that information before that guy, he might have to invest in something else. That is what is clearly missing. There are technical services that people like organizations like Smidan, ITF, NDE ought to provide for MSMEs so that at some point in time, look, there's a time we studied some business plan people gave to banks for loan. And in none of those plans did you find exit support for the business owner. So he comes in with a surplus optimism that this will work, nothing will happen, the business will work. But that is not the reality. The reality is that every business, the side has stood that for every business sector in the world over, there is what is called a lifespan. No business stays forever. You can only stay by innovating, constantly innovating, changing your focus, changing your product, changing your services. If you don't understand all of this, there's no amount of money you invest that will sustain a business for you.